Oftentimes, people who are more anxious will be in relationship with people who are more avoidant. We know that. But there may be some pressure from one person to open up the relationship. Now, again, I realize that that's not every situation. Some people from the outset are in open relationships, but equally, I think a lot of people will be in partnership and then there's pressure from one person to open up the relationship. And if that's a situation that you are in or have been in, I have to caution you to be really, really careful and make sure that that is what you want as well. Because the very worst thing that you could do, particularly as someone with anxious attachment patterns, is agree to open up a relationship just so you avoid losing someone. And I think that that can happen. It's certainly happened to people I've worked with. I've received a lot of messages from people who are saying, my partner wants to open the relationship and I'm scared to lose them, so I would rather do this than lose them altogether. I'd rather at least be involved in some way or have transparency and some sort of veto power. And I think that while all of that's really understandable, it is not going to be the solution to your problems. So making sure that if you are thinking about opening up your relationship and you're someone with more anxious attachment patterns, or anyone for that matter, anyone who's struggling with unworthiness, or frankly, if you're perfectly secure, but you feel like there's pressure from someone to open up a relationship when that's not what you want, I think it's really important to tune in and go, is this what I want? Or am I just trying to hold on to someone? Because I think a lot of the time, people will just yield to that out of fear. And it is very, very rare that that is going to ultimately make your situation better. It will almost always make your situation worse, because the fear and insecurity that is driving you to say yes to that thing that you don't really want is going to be 100-fold once you're opening up your relationship and your partner is seeing other people or whatever other structure it might look like. And that is not going to be a good outcome for you. So getting really clear on what your boundaries are, what your limits are, what you actually want, and being comfortable advocating for what you actually want and what you don't want, I think is extremely important. And for folks with more anxious attachment patterns, there's growth in that, because that's not the starting point for most of us, is not to have real clarity around what we want and what our limits are, and then take that additional step of advocating for ourselves in that.